Today we're going to be taking another look at the rules to the Star Wars role-playing system by Fantasy Flight Games, and specifically be discussing how damage works. It's just a little bit different than other games where one check lets you know if you hit something and another dice roll will tell you how much damage you've done. In this system, whether you're using a ranged weapon, a melee weapon, or just straight up punching a guy, one set of dice is going to tell you if you've hit, how much damage you're going to do. So how do we do it? We form a dice pool just like any skill check. Combat skills in this game are just another skill check, and you form a dice pool of all the positive dice from your skill ranks and boosts and beneficial talents, and then you add in all the negative dice from the difficulty of the check, any setbacks you might have, and any negative things about the situation. The GM will let you know. Take all your dice and you roll them out there, and then you take all your successes and your failures, and they cancel each other out. If you have any uncancelled successes, your attack is successful and you're going to do some damage. But how much damage do you do? You take the number of uncancelled successes and you add that to the base damage to the weapon, because every weapon in this game has a base damage specific to it. A blaster pistol, for example, has a base damage of 6. So let's say you roll all your dice and you end up with 3 successes and 2 threats. You take your 6 base damage, you add your 3 uncancelled successes, and your blaster shot is going to be doing 9 damage. It's important to note that brawl and melee weapons can work just slightly different, because some of them in the damage column on the weapons chart will have a plus symbol in the damage. And what that means is you get to add your brawn rating to any damage with that weapon. Say you're attacking with a vibro axe. Vibro axe has a base damage of 3. Your check was 3 successes and 2 threats, so 3 plus 3 is 6, but it's a plus 3 in the damage column, so you add your brawn score to that. If you're a Wookiee with a brawn of 3, you have base damage 3, brawn of 3, and 3 uncancelled successes for a vibro axe attack of 9 damage. So we know our attack is successful, and we know how much damage we're sending towards the target, but there's one more thing we need to do to calculate how much they actually take, and that is to look at their soak value. Everyone in the game has a soak value, and it's a combination of your brawn score and any armor you're wearing. There's a couple of different talents that'll increase it as well, and soak reduces incoming damage. So our blaster shot was going to do 9, and it was aimed at a stormtrooper minion group who has a soak of 5. 9 minus 5 means those stormtroopers would take 4 wounds damage. Unfortunately, if soak reduces the damage all the way down to 0 or even to a negative number, that means no damage was dealt. So either their armor was too thick, or it was a glancing blow, or they were able to just shrug off whatever attack you hit them with, and no damage was actually dealt to their health. Soak also applies to each individual instance of damage. If you're shooting a weapon that has the auto fire quality, for example, and you were hitting them with 3 different shots, each doing 6 damage, those stormtroopers would reduce each shot by 5 damage, so you would have 3 shots, each doing 1 damage for 3 wounds. Soak does not apply to strain that you are doing to a target, but it does apply to stun damage, which is a type of damage that then affects the target's strain. So if you were using a blaster and you were using it on the stun setting and doing 9 damage, it would still reduce that 9 damage by 5, and you'd be doing 4 damage, and that would go to their strain threshold, not their wound threshold. If you were doing an attack or ability that specifically did strain to the target, then soak would not apply, and it would go straight to their strain threshold. And that wraps it up for how damage works in this game. It's a skill check, just like any other skill check, and then you take the number of uncancelled successes that you roll and add that to the weapon's base value. Certain brawl and melee weapons will have a plus sign on their base value, and that's a reminder to add your brawn score. Base value plus uncancelled successes plus your brawn score if there's a plus sign, and that gives you the total damage. You take the total damage and you subtract the target's soak value. If there's any damage left, you have dealt wounds. If it's 0 or a negative number, no damage is dealt. If your attack is doing multiple instances of separate damage, soak applies to each of them separately. Soak will also apply if you are dealing stun damage, but does not apply if you are just dealing strain outright. So, now you know how to damage people and you know how to calculate how much damage is coming into you. Come back next time when I try to figure out how to heal and remove all the damage that you have taken.